Have you ever noticed that no matter how much healing work you do, you keep attracting the same perpetrator energy into your life? Whether it's a toxic boss, a narcissistic partner, or a draining family member, the cycle seems to repeat itself. Today, we are breaking the victim-perpetrator loop. I'm going to show you why the Matrix needs you to stay in one of these two roles, and how to step out of the game entirely. Stick with me until the end, because the final step, the neutral observer, is the only way to stop the cycle from ever starting again. Part 1. The architecture of the game. To break a loop, you first have to see that you are in one. The victim-perpetrator loop is not just a personal problem, it is one of the most fundamental structures of the control system. It is an energetic tennis match where energy is constantly being bounced back and forth, but it never leaves the court. In this game, the perpetrator feeds on the victim's fear and reaction, and the victim, though suffering, is often energetically tied to the perpetrator through resentment and the hope for justice. Both roles are traps. Both roles keep you horizontal, fighting battles on the level of the matrix. A sovereign soul doesn't want to win the game, they want to leave the stadium. If you are waiting for the perpetrator to apologize or change, you are still giving them your power. You are still waiting for permission to be free. The architecture of the loop is designed to keep you looking out there at the enemy, so you never look in here at the power source they are stealing. The perpetrator is often just a program designed to trigger the victim's survival response. When you understand that the perpetrator is actually starving for your reaction, you begin to see the game for what it is, a harvest. We often think that escaping means the other person has to stop. But true sovereignty is about changing your internal frequency so the loop has nothing to plug into. To do that, we have to look at the hook of resentment and why it's keeping you stuck to the very people you want to escape. Part 2. The hook of resentment. Why is it so hard to walk away? Usually, it's because of resentment. Resentment is the energetic glue that keeps the victim connected to the perpetrator. You might think your anger is protecting you, that it's a shield, but in reality, your anger is a silver cord that allows the other person access to your field even when they aren't in the same room. The Matrix loves resentment because it is a high-quality form of Loosh. It is a slow-burning fire that consumes your life force. Think about it, when you lay in bed at night replaying an argument, who is winning? The other person is sleeping, yet they are occupying your mental real estate. They are living in your head rent-free. To break the loop, you have to realize that seeking justice from a broken system or a broken person is a waste of your divine energy. Sovereignty means realizing that your peace is worth more than being right. When you drop the resentment, you drop the hook. The perpetrator can still try to play, but they will find that they are hitting the ball into an empty court. This is the first step toward becoming energetically expensive. Part 3. The Narcissistic Matrix. We talk a lot about narcissists in the spiritual community, but we need to look at it through the lens of spiritual engineering. A narcissist is effectively a dry battery. In a spiritual sense, they have disconnected from their own internal source, the divine spark, and must therefore harvest energy from others to survive. The system uses these individuals as gatekeepers to keep you distracted. If you are busy defending yourself against a narcissist, you aren't focusing on your awakening. You aren't building your inner kingdom. The goal of the narcissistic matrix is to keep you in a state of hypervigilance. Hypervigilance is a low vibrational state where your nervous system is always scanning for threats. While you are scanning for threats, you cannot manifest beauty. Rule number 1 for breaking this loop: stop trying to fix the narcissist and start fixing the leak in your own boundaries. You don't owe an empty battery your light. You are not a repair shop for broken souls who refuse to do their own work. Recognizing the drain is the first step. But there is a hidden trap that many of us fall into, a role that feels holy but is actually just a different version of the same cage. Let's talk about the danger of the martyr. Part 4. The trap of the martyr. Many spiritual people fall into a hidden version of the victim role, the martyr. This is the belief that your suffering is noble. You think, I am staying in this toxic situation because I'm high vibrational and I can heal them. Or, if I just show them enough love, they will wake up. This is a dangerous deception. You cannot heal someone who is choosing to be a drain. In fact, by staying and allowing them to harvest you, you are actually enabling their parasitic behavior. You are teaching them that their behavior has no consequences. The martyr role is just a spiritualized victim role. Sovereignty requires the shadow work of admitting that you might be getting a sense of worth from being the long-suffering healer. To break the loop, you must realize that self-sacrifice is not self-love. The universe doesn't want you to be a doormat, it wants you to be a sovereign. You serve the world best by being whole, not by being a feast for parasites. If you are realizing right now that you've been fighting a battle you were never meant to win, hit the subscribe button. We are building a community of souls who are done playing the Matrix games and are ready to claim their independence. We are 350 subscribers away from our 1,000 sub milestone. Help us get there by joining the movement today. Now, let's look at the Mirror Trap. Part 5, the Mirror Trap, Projection. The loop often survives through projection. The perpetrator projects their shame onto the victim, and the victim accepts it as their own. This is why victims often feel guilty for things they didn't do. The perpetrator says, "You made me do this," and the victim's empath program says, "Maybe I did." Breaking the loop requires you to stop being a mirror for other people's shadows. When someone projects their anger or shame onto you, imagine it hitting a clear glass wall and falling to the floor. It is not yours to carry. A sovereign soul knows exactly where they end and another person begins. This is discernment. If you don't have clear boundaries, you will constantly be recycling other people's garbage. The loop breaks when the victim refuses to hold the perpetrator's shame. Once the perpetrator has to sit with their own energy, the game becomes very uncomfortable for them. And they will usually leave to find a more compliant mirror. Part 6, the frequency of the exit. How do you physically and energetically leave the stadium? You have to change your frequency of exit. Most people try to leave with a bang, a big argument, a final letter, or a dramatic confrontation. But a bang is still an energetic exchange. It's a final meal for the system. The most powerful way to leave a loop is through disengagement. This is the gray rock method taken to a spiritual level. You become unharvestable. You become boring to the system. When the perpetrator tries to trigger you, and you respond with calm, neutral observation without anger, without defense, and without explanation, the loop breaks. You are effectively saying, "I see what you are doing, but I am not a participant." You become a black hole for their drama. It enters your field and finds nothing to hook into. It just disappears. This is the ultimate power move. You aren't fighting back, you are simply no longer there to be hit. Once you stop being the martyr and drop the resentment, you enter the void space. This is the silence after the storm. It can feel lonely, and this is where most people get scared and run back to the old loop just to feel something. But this is actually where your true power is born. Part 7, Rebuilding the Inner Kingdom. Once the loop is broken, you will have a sudden sovereign surplus of energy. For years, you've been spending 80% of your life force on defense and survival. Now, that energy is yours again. Do not fill this space with a new drama. Many people hop from one toxic relationship to another because the nervous system is addicted to the cortisol spike of the loop. This is a physiological addiction. You have to detox from the drama. Use this time for self-reflection. Ask yourself, what part of me believed I deserved to be treated this way? And what boundary was missing? This isn't about blaming yourself, it's about internal sovereignty. By rebuilding your self-esteem and self-worth, you change your vibrational signature. Predators are like sharks, they can smell the blood of unworthiness from a mile away. When you are filled with self-love, you become vibrationally invisible to them. You literally disappear from their radar. Part 8, the collective loop. It's important to realize that this loop isn't just happening in your personal life, it's happening on a global scale. The media and the government constantly play the perpetrator role, trying to make the public feel like victims. They want you to feel helpless, angry, and dependent on them for protection. When you break the loop in your personal life, you are contributing to the breaking of the collective loop. Every time a single soul reclaims their power and refuses to be triggered by the outrage machine, the matrix loses a battery. You are doing the work for the whole world when you do the work for yourself. This is how we change the world, not by fighting the perpetrators out there, but by becoming untrappable in here. Step 9, the neutral observer, the final seal. We have reached the most important part of breaking the loop, the final seal. This is the practice of becoming the neutral observer. Even if you move away physically, if the person is still living in your head, the loop is still active. Reclaiming your mental real estate is the final act of freedom. Every time you think about what they did or how unfair it was, you are sending them a packet of energy. You are still paying them tribute. To truly be free, you must make the conscious choice to stop the internal dialogue. This is the ultimate act of sovereignty. It is saying, you no longer have permission to exist in my mind. This isn't about them, it's about you. When you reclaim your mind, you reclaim your life. The loop is officially closed. You are no longer a victim. You are no longer a perpetrator. You are sovereign. Have you ever found yourself stuck in a martyr role, trying to heal someone who only wanted to drain you? How did you finally find the strength to walk away? Share your story in the comments below. Your experience could be the exact map someone else needs to find their way out. If this video helped you see the exit, like it and subscribe. Let's reach that 1000 sub goal together. I'll see you in the next one.